I really don't know how more people aren't signing this Wonderkid in FM24. Not only is he fairly cheap for the player that you're getting, but he has great ability straight away and lots of potential. And make sure you stick with us in this video because we're going to show you how a single position change might be able to unlock this player's full talent. That's right, we have an unreal talent today, a Portuguese national who might be able to follow in the footsteps of many greats like Figo, Eusebio, and of course Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a player who can operate on the wing with great flair, so let's go and find him. We're going to go over to Benfica, one of the largest sides of course in the nation of Portugal, and then we're going to go to all players and sort by age. I've only got the Spanish division loaded and there's like 9,000 players in this save file, so really there is barely anyone here, so hopefully he should be in most of your saves too. And you can see they've got a bunch of Joaos in the team. João Neves, a great player, João Veloso, a great player, but today we are going to be looking at João Rego. Now, as you can see, he's a tricky winger, but remember to stick with us because we're going to show you how to turn this guy into an unbelievable player. But straight away, he's already got some great attributes to start with. First of all, he's 18 years of age, valued about £4 or £5 million. But as time goes on in your save, and there's a good chance he might not get a go at Benfica, you might be able to get him at a cut price deal. So keep an eye on him and maybe you can save yourself some money, but 4 or 5 million is still good value for the player that you're going to get here. He has a potential range of 150 to 180, so even if in your save he falls on the lowest end of that potential range, you are still looking at an unbelievable wide player who will be one of the best in his position in the world. But if you get it on the highest end, that 180, 170 side, you are going to see a global superstar. Now, he has got everything he needs to be effective on that left-hand side. Some acceleration, agility, and pace at a decent level, which is going to improve over the next few years, you would have thought. Passing, vision, and technique as well. That might be why his roles that are suggested to us are actually quite creative roles as opposed to the normal wide roles that you tend to see. He can also operate as a number 10. He's got 13 first touch here, 13 dribbling, decent crossing and finishing that do need a little bit of work, with some very well-rounded mental attributes as well. So now you know about the player João Rego, but let's show you how we're going to set him up to become a great player in game. Firstly, as we do in all of our tests, we've set him to his maximum potential and brought him over to Real Madrid so we can see him at the maximum of his ability. We get a few questions recently saying, why do you take these players to Real Madrid? Most of us don't play for Real, and I get that, but we are bringing them over here so you can see them at their full potential. That's what we're trying to do in these videos, to unlock the kind of players they could become if you sign them and give them a chance. Because a lot of the time, players like this just don't get given a chance at their club, and by the time he's 20, he'll have gone stale at Benfica, and there'll be no chance to really develop him to his full potential. But we're going to use him here as an inside forward on the left-hand side with no additional instructions other than asking him to shoot more often, because we are trying to get goals from this man. Now, arguably inside forward is nowhere near his best role on this wide area, but it's just a role that I really like, and I feel like Rego, even though his finishing isn't great, if we could develop that, we could have a very complete option off that left flank. He already can beat a man, he's decently paced, and he can really create a chance with his passing ability. So the hope is if we can get that finishing up, we might be able to see some great performances from him. Now, in terms of mentoring, he is being mentored by some of the better heads at the club, Carvajal, Modric, and Nacho. And then his training, this is something like we always do, we only focus in on the role that the player is playing. I suggest you guys do that too. As we do for all of these videos, we're going to leave the additional focus blank so that we keep it the same for every single player that we test with. But if I was training him myself personally, I'd be looking to focus in on that finishing. We're using him as an inside forward. If we can get that finishing up, he'll be a top talent. And later on in the video, I'll show you how we're going to use his attributes to move him into a new position that you wouldn't really think of, that I actually think he is very suited to. But with that being said, let's simulate a few years and see him on the lower end of that potential range. As we simulate ahead, don't forget to smash the like button if you do enjoy the content over here on the FMSCOUT channel. Subscribe if you haven't as well, and comment down below which Wonderkid you want to see next in the series. But now, as you can see, we are in 2026. 3 years have passed, and João Rego has far exceeded any expectation we would have had of him. He is far beyond that lowest end of the potential range, and is actually sitting about 160 current ability here. So this is a little bit above the worst possible version you could get of João Rego at full growth. And I put it in quote marks because even at the worst possible version of Rego, he is still such a great talent, and it is because he has those top starting attributes when it comes to his creativity, his acceleration, his agility, the flair as well, and you can see he is turning into an unbelievable player. Physically, 16 acceleration, 16 agility and 16 pace, combined with nice stamina, strength and natural fitness. He's 6 foot tall, 15 passing, 17 vision and 16 technique is incredible. 17 off the ball work, the composure, the first touch, the dribbling, crossing ability is there, the finishing ability is there. This man can do absolutely everything, and at the age of 21, he is valued at 100 million. He starts as an 18-year-old, costs you about 4 or 5 mil, and here he is after a few years of development, becoming one of the best players in world football already at only the age of 21. He's got 5 appearances for his national team, and if we look at his in-game performances, he came flying out the blocks. Even as an 18-year-old, he was able to get 17 assists and 9 goals in his first season, which is incredible. He hasn't quite got to that assist number again the season afterwards, but the following season, this season that we're seeing now, he hit 15 goals and 16 assists, nearly getting a goal contribution a game in this Real Madrid side with a 7.43 average match rating, becoming one of their best players in this current state. Now, this is him here as a wide player, and we're actually going to simulate a few more years with him playing out wide so you can see him in his prime. But later on in the simulation, what I actually did when he was about 26, 27, I did a Cristiano Ronaldo. Right now, he's a wide player who loves to take on his man, but I moved him into a striker as an advanced forward because I just thought that pace, the acceleration, combined with the dribbling ability, the finishing, even the creative side of his game as well, would really make him a top-level striker. So that is definitely something you can do to Rego if you want to change how he plays for you guys. Now, he is quite a versatile player, as you can see by all the positions he can play, so he is someone that does suit a position change. But now let's simulate a few years ahead to see just how good he can become. Before we see Rego at full growth, just to let you guys know, I do have my own channel linked in the description down below. Football Manager content, everything from YouTube shorts about Wonderkids you might not have heard of, to 30, 40-minute rebuild videos where we take over a club and give ourselves 5 seasons to try and turn them into giants of the game. So if that sounds interesting to you, come and check it out. I'd really appreciate any support as we push for 30k subs by the start of the new year. But let's take a look at how Rego looks in his prime. It's currently 2036. Quite a few years have passed since the start of this simulation. Rego is now 31. He's got 22 goals in 68 international appearances from that left-hand side. His physical attributes are off the charts, as are his mentals and his technicals too. This guy is so well-rounded, considered an elite winger, and as mentioned, we tried to move him into the striking position, and he really took to it like a duck to water. You can see every attribute highlighted that he'd need to play that role, he has at an unbelievable level. He's now considered a 4.5-star player here at Real Madrid, and he's wanted by a bunch of Saudi Arabian teams. But if we have a look at his performances in game, it is incredible. I mean, most of these are still playing on the wing. It's only in the most recent season where he started playing as a striker, and he is still trying to adapt to that role, of course. He's not going to be natural there straight away, but you can see after his first few years, he was consistently hitting pretty much a goal contribution a game over the course of each season, getting 7.6 average match ratings 2 years in a row, 7.46, 20 assists 1 year, 22 goals the next. He can score goals, he can create goals, and he is a player that will be so fun to watch in the in-game engine as well, with all that flair and creativity and that pace. But let's see how he looks at the end of his career after a few more years as a striker. And he's now a 36-year-old man who is very close to retirement. He's lost his physical attributes, but over the last few years, you can see, as soon as he adapted to that striker role, he went straight in and got his highest goal-scoring season, 30 goals in 37. A couple of years later, 28 in 38, and this is when he's lost his legs a little bit. So if he did still have that pace and that acceleration, he would do even better. But he is such a great player, someone that for his potential ability isn't being signed enough. As I said, it's 150 to 180, one of the best potential ranges you can get in the whole game, up there with some of your favourite players. So João Rego, check him out if you haven't already. Is he going to be the next big thing coming out of Portugal? Keep your eyes out because he could be someone whose name is known a lot more in the next few years.